Does it pick it up
now? Now I have something. Before it was like straight line, and I'm like, oh my god, we can save her. Clear.
Welcome to the Crooked Table Podcast, where we discuss the world of film from a fresh angle. And now your host, Robert Yaniz Jr.
Welcome to the Crooked Table Podcast. This is Rob.
It's Freddy.
On this episode, we're going to be talking about War for the Planet of the Apes, which is basically, sounds like the filmmakers are trying to fit as many conjunctions or any prepositions as possible into a single film title. Look, blank of the blank of the blank. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why don't you just call it War for the Apes? We all know that it's the Planet of the Apes. You don't have to put Planet of the Apes in every single film title, especially when there's like, what now? I think this is the eight or nine.
Yeah, the eighth or
something like that. There's a lot of them.
If you're
counting the whole franchise.
If you're counting the whole franchise.
So we're going to be talking about that movie, and then we're going to talk about Baby Driver from director Edgar Wright. But before we get into Baby Driver, Freddy went out and hung out with a couple of Minions for a little bit, and I wanted to get some feedback, man on the street report on Despicable Me 3. For me, I'm a big fan of this franchise. So I saw the first one in theaters, I think, a couple times. I even own the second one and Minions, and I know a lot of people are like hating on the Minions. I don't know if it's because it made $1 billion or because the characters are basically surrogates for little kids. No wonder those characters are so popular with little kids. Yeah, they speak gibberish. They like being silly and bananas and butts and all kinds of stuff. So Despicable Me 3, how did that land for you as far as in the franchise or just in general as an animated film?
I think, do you like the second one better than the first one?
I like the first one better than the second one, but I still like the second one.
I like probably maybe this one better than the second one.
Okay.
But it's not better than the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the case with most franchises.
It was really good though. It was really good. It was entertaining. I liked that they had this whole thing with his brother Drew that's like terrible. And
what's terrible? The character of Drew is terrible?
The character of Drew is he's the brother of Gru, right? And he's trying to be a supervillain, but he's terrible at it.
Oh, that's funny.
So the whole time Gru's like trying to do his thing, Drew keeps messing him up.
Nice.
So he has to compensate for Drew.
Did the movie balance all the different subplots? Because I'd heard that it has the Drew and Gru thing, and has the Minions go to prison, and then there's also the villain that they're trying to stop. Like, there's too many things going
Balthazar
on.
Brat,
yeah. There's too many things going on, and
there wasn't. I mean,
suffers because of that.
No, I didn't think that at all, because it's not like they were huge topics. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it just like cut to the Minions, and
the Minion thing,
they're trying to survive on their own.
That could literally be like one scene cut away if they wanted it to be.
Yeah, and it was like 2 or 3 scenes, and then it went back to Gru and Drew. And then they didn't really need to go into the backstory of Balthazar Brat as much, because it was pretty one-dimensional.
For people listening that haven't
character.
seen that, he's basically like a former child star or something.
Yeah, he was
from like a sitcom in the 80s, so he's basically stuck in the 80s.
Yeah,
so
and then it got canceled.
Michael Jackson dance fighting and all kinds of stuff.
It got canceled, and he tries to relive the show.
That's a cool
as
idea,
as being a supervillain.
That's a fun idea. Concept. And it's Trey Parker, right? Trey Parker
of
South Park
co-creator,
and all that, yeah.
So I didn't think that it wasn't like it's a cartoon. It's not like we say this time and time again, X-Men: The Last Stand, like when they threw so much storyline into one movie. Those storylines, they could have made one movie off of one of those storylines, right? But this it's a cartoon. It's very
fast paced.
It's very fast paced.
Jumping around a lot. Anyway.
It jumps. Yeah, that's how all the Despicable Me's are. And
that's
also, it wasn't like something that they could go and do a whole movie about. It was just like they do this thing while they do this thing, then they coincide together, and to go fight this guy. It all went together at the end, anyways.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that at all. Why haven't you gone to see it yet?
I haven't been able to.
Yeah, seeing other movies and stuff.
I have a small child, and I have to choose Despicable Me or Baby Driver.
She would probably like the Minions.
Baby Driver has to win out. So that was because we saw Spider-Man as you can hear on the last episode of the Crooked Table podcast, and we had a lot to say about that. We saw that like a couple of days before my birthday, and then, but the next movie I had a chance to go see was Baby Driver, which came out like, the end of June. So, so I haven't gotten a chance. And then now, War for the Planet of the Apes. So between everything those movies, and then Dunkirk coming next week, and then Atomic Blonde, and then maybe in August, if I haven't seen it by August, maybe in August I'll see it, because August usually kind of dips down. Now, lately, they used to have like some big movies in August too, because it was still technically summer. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like, I don't know if it's at least here in Florida, the school year now is like ends in May and starts like ends in early May and starts in early August. So I don't know if that's maybe kind of the trend nationwide, and that's why there's like poorer and poorer movies in August than there used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Used to have like some pretty big movies in like at least the first half of August. I don't really think there's anything super huge coming out in August. I think pretty much Atomic Blonde is sort of the beginning of the like wind down until October,
there were
November,
a couple.
whatever.
There's a couple that come out on August 4th, but
yeah,
it's
but
like the very beginning.
Nothing super.
Yeah, because when we saw, there were 2 movies that came out on August 4th. I think it was Atomic Blonde and maybe...
I think Atomic Blonde July 28th, if I'm...
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Well, there were 2 movies. Yeah. It might have been
and the
Detroit,
Emoji movie.
Or
the Emoji movie comes out July 28th. Okay, you do have August 4th. The Dark Tower and Detroit, both.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing both of those.
But then after that, it's like the next week is Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
Is the big
then
movie.
It goes downhill.
And then Nut Job 2, and then it's like Hitman's Bodyguard, which is Ryan Reynolds, Sam Jackson. That could be fun, but there's no big event movies anymore after, I guess, the first week in August.
Yeah.
So Despicable Me recommended by you.
Yeah, I
haven't seen that many. Sorry,
it's a solid watch. It's a solid watch. Yeah, it's one of the better cartoon. It's a lot better than Nut Job and stuff like that. I give it like a 3 out of 5 or something.
3 out of 5. Oh, yeah. So that's like basically good, but not like fantastic.
Entertaining.
Decent,
Yeah. It's worth the watch because it's entertaining,
right.
But it's
especially
not.
If you have small
it's
kids.
not like a Zootopia or something like that.
It's not transcendent, but if you have small kids and you're looking at just
they'll definitely be entertained.
Air conditioned for an hour and a half.
You'll be entertained.
Just chill.
Yeah. They own the DreamWorks. It's DreamWorks, right?
It's Illumination. I think it's Universal.
Universal. Actually. Oh yeah, Universal because they have the right.
Right.
Yeah. They own Sing, right? The movie.
Yeah, I heard about it. That's in the trailer.
Minions have like a whole number. I didn't really watch the trailer to Despicable Me 3, so I came in there blank.
I try and not see trailers very much unless it's something like Star Wars, and I'm like, oh my god, I get to see it, or Spider-Man, or something.
I try to limit. I maybe see the first trailer.
Right.
And then all the other trailers I try not to see because I don't want to ruin the movie too much for me.
Yeah, because then what happens? But what happens for me at least is that it gets drilled into my head like 4,000 times every time. Like I said to you today when we saw Planet of the Apes, like Atomic Blonde trailer again. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real fast. I've seen this one like 47,000 times because every movie they have that trailer.
It kind of looks like a Jason Bourne.
Well, it's John Wickian a little bit too because it's. John Wick was directed by 2 guys. One of them stayed on to do John Wick Chapter 2. The other one went to make Atomic Blonde.
So they're both like making John Wick.
And
it's a John Wick kind of
John Wick
gun
style, like very stylized. And Atomic Blonde actually takes place in the 80s. I don't know if they don't really make that clear in the trailer.
Well, did she do a lot of gun work though?
That movie?
In the movie?
In Atomic Blonde?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so maybe.
In the trailer, it didn't look like it. I think it switches. It switches like John Wick.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes in John Wick there's whole sequences where he's just shooting the gun.
Oh, it's mostly headshots.
It's mostly like the.
If you look on because I just got the John Wick
like the tunnel scene, the catacombs scene or something like that.
That's a great sequence.
Yeah.
If you look at the on the Blu-ray of John Wick Chapter 2, there's like a whole kill count thing where they go around. And you just like count all the times that everybody he kills. Like he kills like 115 people.
Like while the movie's going?
No, they just it's a montage.
Because that would have been cool.
That would be cool. Actually,
that would be cool if it had a count on
As
you
the
watch
movie.
the movie. It just
Like
has a
it's
count in
video
the
game
corner.
on the bottom right corner.
You can play like a bet or a game or something just to be like, how many counts does he kill?
a shot every time
Yeah.
you kill somebody, and then
A
you
shot-
die like 10 minutes into the movie.
No, like how many by the end of the movie, how many by the end of this sequence, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll have like one for like the total kills, and then one for this fight sequence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the catacombs, how many kills? I mean, it'd probably be like 55 or something.
Jeez. It's a lot. There's a lot of kills in that sequence, but like in the whole movie, I think it was 115, 120 something. It was really high. And with the third one, it's probably going to be worse. So, So Despicable Me, is that would you say is probably is that one of your favorite animated movies of the year so far?
What does it have to compare against?
I don't know. What have you seen? Not very much, I guess.
Yeah.
I like Captain Underpants.
If nothing else comes to mind,
I saw Captain Underpants in a couple. I brought my daughter to see that too, and then I saw we did a review for WeGotDiscovered.com for that, so that was a pretty solid one. And Lego Batman, but yeah, it's been kind of light this year for animation so far. Like there hasn't been very many.
Or it's
standouts.
more low key animation, like nothing big.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting a Disney or a Pixar. I forget. I think maybe a Pixar in the fall.
Yeah.
Disney.
Moana came out this year.
No, that was last year. That was November.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like November. It's like a Thanksgiving. You know, they like to do that.
I saw it this year.
Well, yeah, you saw it because it hit Netflix this year. But,
yeah.
it's okay. So that's
you can't catch them all in the theaters.
No, unlike Pokemon, you can't catch them all.
even with.
I mean, people are trying to catch all the Pokemon. I don't know. I don't know much about Pokemon. I just know catch them all is like their thing. So that's Despicable Me 3. So I was under the impression you hadn't seen Baby Driver, so I thought we were going to compare notes. And I'd be like, let me tell you about Baby Driver. And you were like, let me tell you about what the Minions are up to.
Yeah.
But turns out...
It seems it's a little one-sided because there's so much more to talk about with Baby Driver.
Well, there's much more to say with Baby Driver. And Despicable Me, you're like, there were minions, there were villains and stuff happening.
There's nothing...
Silly shit and bananas happened. And
because also if it takes the entertainment out of the movie if I ruin it for you.
Don't spoil the whole movie.
If I'm like this is a really funny part, and then,
right.
I mean I told you the basics of what it was,
which anyways. I know from the trailer.
Yeah,
which you can
which you can kind of guess from the trailer.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's really funny though.
Okay,
cool. I recommend.
There you go, Freddy approved.
So Baby
Driver. We will not be getting into spoilers for this really, but we'll get into spoilers hardcore for the Apes a little bit later.
Oh, we're not gonna get into spoilers?
No. Do we want to go? Do we have to go into spoilers for this?
No, I guess it doesn't.
Okay, so Baby Driver.
I like the music
from writer-director Edgar Wright, who did the Cornetto trilogy, Scott Pilgrim.
Who wrote half of Ant-Man.
Yeah, he was going to direct Ant-Man, and then that didn't work out. I still think his version of Ant-Man would have been much better than what we got. Even though the movie we got's not bad, it's fine. It
might have felt more indie, and Marvel doesn't necessarily want to go in that route.
They don't want to let people.
They
go
like
crazy.
big, like blockbuster type.
I guess
they don't like indie film kind of
sensibilities.
Feel. Yeah.
Well, even
because this had an indie film artistic vibe,
right?
And that's
James Gunn has sort of. I mean, he proved himself with the first one, with the first Guardians, but he sort of has a weird, quirky kind of sensibility to him too.
It fits with that universe.
If you're not James Gunn, they don't want you to do your own thing. They want you to do what they want you to do. Pretty much, in a lot of ways. I don't know. I feel like
you did Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
That's the Cornetto trilogy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cornetto is like an ice cream dessert that there's different flavors, and they have in each one of those movies. One of the characters, like one of those Cornettos, makes an appearance. So there's like the red like strawberry flavor, or whatever, in Shaun of the Dead because it's like zombies and blood and all that stuff.
Yeah. And
then it's a blue one for Hot Fuzz because it's the police.
Yeah.
And then it's a green one for The World's End because it's like involves sci-fi and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Or like aliens.
I don't necessarily follow that one. That one would be like woodsy or something maybe.
What?
You should have done something in the woods. For the green.
For the green?
Yeah, that's like...
But did you see The World's End?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's my least favorite of the three, even though it's still strong. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I like Scott Pilgrim a lot, and then I like Hot Fuzz, and then I like this. So this, of course, is from writer-director Edgar Wright, like I said. Stars Ansel Elgort of The Fault in Our Stars. John Bernthal, briefly. That's not a spoiler. He's in it, not that much. John Hamm, Kevin Spacey, Lily James. I always get Lily James and Lily Collins confused. Yeah, Lily James. Isa Gonzalez. I forget how you say her name. That's the one that plays Darling.
Okay.
And a few other people, but those are the main. It's a pretty small cast.
So does Miss James? I'm not even gonna try it. Lily James. Does she play
Deborah?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and this is about a young man, getaway driver, who has tinnitus. So he uses music to drown out all the noise that the ringing in his ears from an accident when he was a kid. Yeah, I mean that's all in the trailer. That's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
So going into this movie, were you like super hyped, or were you like, I don't know, let's see what this is about?
I didn't see the trailer.
Okay, good. That's good.
So I went in there blind. I came in there thinking.
What made you want to see it then if you hadn't seen the trailer? Me being like, you should see Baby Driver.
No, because I saw that Edgar Wright wrote and directed. I wanted to see. I wanted to see a movie. Well, I knew. I like almost all the movies that he's done.
You've seen all of them minus World's End, so
yeah, and I saw that it was an action adventure comedy on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. So, and I saw that it also had like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes when I looked. I don't know what it is now. So I was like, oh, okay, it's a good movie. So I went.
Well, was it a good movie? What did you think?
I loved it. Yeah.
I think it uses.
It wasn't exactly what I was expecting.
Well, you didn't see the trailer.
Well,
so
I know.
Like, I don't know what to expect.
Well, I thought when it says action adventure, though, I'm thinking like a lot of action adventure.
Right.
Like I knew it was going to be kind of like a car movie.
It gets a little more actiony, I'd say, in the third act than everywhere else.
Yeah, it's like the first scene in the third act are like the most.
I could see that. Well, I mean, there's that
action.
That
really, it was like a slow build up to
that really cool maneuver with the car in the hallway. That was in the first. In the alley, yeah. That was in the trailer.
The beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that's towards the beginning of the movie. So it does have more of a. I think maybe with that description, I think maybe you were expecting more of a straight up Hollywood blockbuster type of like more consistent, more
consistent action. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more like action in the beginning, and then a lot of like story development. And this is where like the indie part comes in, where it's like throughout the whole movie, and then toward the end it gets like
Jamie Foxx. We forgot to say Jamie Foxx. How could I forget?
I thought you said Jamie Foxx.
I said everybody else other than I'm like, looking at the thing, who else is here? And I didn't see Jamie Foxx's name because who knows what order they're in. He's actually one of the last ones to show up. Yeah, his name's not on the first part of the IMDb page. That's why I didn't even see his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's great in it too. Let's not forget Jamie Foxx, Oscar winner Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he was scary in this movie though.
A little bit.
Because he's batshit crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
no, but the movie uses
everyone he came in contact with literally ended up dying.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry, spoilers.
That's not really. That's kind of a big sweeping statement.
He talks about it from the get-go.
He does.
Spoilers.
But the movie
spoilers coming.
The movie uses music in a way that like almost no other movie does. I mean, to the point where. And I've been writing about, I remember writing about this movie for Screen Rants when news came out about, Edgar Wright's working on this movie, Baby Driver, and it's like sort of an action, sort of quasi-musical kind of thing. And it's not a musical, nobody bursts out into songs, but there's a lot of...
I heard that...
But it's made, it's sort of... The way it's filmed and the way some of the sequences are choreographed is almost like it's like a musical where nobody sings, basically.
Yeah. Because he's just lip singing.
Yeah,
there's lip things are happening in the background.
There's lip syncing. There's also like the action scenes are choreographed like perfectly to match the rhythm of the music. I mean that's how.
But that's how he does it though.
Yeah, it's all diegetic, which means that it's all within the realm of the film. It's not us as a movie goers watching it being like, oh, this is a cool song playing during this action scene.
Yeah.
No, he's listening to that. That's while we're watching the action scene.
Yeah, none of the music that was played
right
was it was like the music that was shared with us from the characters,
right? Exactly.
Or from him specifically.
And he's in every scene of the movie too, so you're with him every step of the way.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he's always got the headphones in his ears.
So like and like the chase at the end of the movie was like that Hocus Focus or
Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Yeah.
He's listening to that as he's like jumping on tables and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah, I like how when they're gonna go and I think they're going to I think this was the part when they were gonna take it from the armed truck.
Yeah.
They were gonna steal from the armed truck, and they were like, okay, go. No, wait, no.
Oh,
let me play this again.
Yeah,
he's like, stop.
Yeah.
Let me play it again, and then he reverses.
Yeah, there's a part where he has to basically get them to wait to make their move until he gets the song like in the right place, and there's like an interruption, and he brings it back a few seconds.
Like, what are we just waiting here for? Yeah. All right, now go.
And then there's a shootout. This is not really. We're speaking very general as far as like plot, but there's also a shootout where the percussion of the song is like the gunfire. It's like
yeah. Or when he's counting the money,
right
in the beginning of
all of that. It's so stylishly.
We never really said what he is in the movie.
Yeah, I said a getaway driver.
Is he okay?
Getaway driver. That's what he is,
didn't
right?
say. Well, yeah, he is. Yeah, but I didn't think you said it.
Yeah. No, I said it generally up front.
So pretty much, he owes a debt to Kevin Spacey,
right.
and he's trying to pay it by doing a certain amount of drives for him.
Exactly, jobs. It's very much a heist movie in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not your typical heist movie. It's sort of like if Reservoir Dogs is a heist movie, but it's not.
I got a very Reservoir Dogs feel about it, because
the gang of people, and they're all like, I mean, at one point, and this is in the trailer also, they're all wearing the Austin Powers mask. They're all wearing like
said Mike Myers. This is Mike Myers. No,
the Halloween mask. This is a Halloween mask. Yeah. It's very unconventional. And I think that's probably why you were like, whoa, that's not what I thought it would be. It's very unconventional, like the style.
No, I liked it, though.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't what you were expecting. But I also like the story. Like, I bought into... I think a lot of people that don't like this movie, because most people, critics love it, but I think there's a certain segment of people that are... like, it's starting to get a little bit of a backlash, at least on Twitter and stuff, mainly because it is so stylish, and I think that's turning some people off. Like, some people love it so much that other people are starting to like overcompensate and be like, it's not that good, come on now, fuck that movie.
Yeah,
go see Spider-Man, or go see, I don't know, not Transformers, nobody likes that shit.
Yeah.
To the point that it didn't even make really that much money here in general. Transformers,
really?
Yeah, it did like the lowest, by far the lowest of all the franchises.
Good, maybe they'll stop making them.
I doubt it, unfortunately. But
if they lose money, I mean, that whole movie is based off of
crap.
CGI.
What?
It's like it's like Avatar or something like that. I mean, it's
all
CGI.
But I don't know.
Or like War on the Planet of the Apes.
We're going on a tangent. But so I also bought into the story, like the story with Baby and Deborah, and like his personal story. Like, I feel like that character, and some people have also, are sort of on the fence about Ansel Elgort. I really liked him a lot in Fault in Our Stars.
I like him a lot. But he gives like a kind of creepy vibe.
I can see that. In this movie, he came off as more naive, because you learn about his backstory and that he's sort of been kind of trapped in this world for a long time.
The only movies I've seen of him
are
in the Divergent series.
Yeah.
And
Fault in Our Stars.
This one. No, I didn't even see Fault in Our Stars.
He's really charming in Fault in Our Stars. That's what you need to see.
Yeah. And I've even heard and seen one of his music videos and everything.
No, I didn't even know he did a song. Does he sing?
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s.
It's funny. If you want to laugh, so go see his music video. The song is called Thief.
Oh jeez. Okay.
There you go. It's a good song, but some of his dance moves are a little weird.
Okay, so that kind of leads into...
But I mean, I think it's his first music video, so you have to give him a little bit of a break.
Some criticism then, because in this movie, I've heard some people say that his casting didn't really work for them, because in the movie, I think you're supposed to buy into the fact that he's really cool, with his sunglasses, with his multiple pairs of sunglasses,
Yeah.
and his multiple iPods, and he's just
really? And it wasn't.
and he's like dancing around, and then some people were like, he's kind of dorky. I don't know if I buy into him being like this cool, suave like guy. But to me, his performance is not supposed to. He's not supposed to be that cool guy. He's supposed to be sort of this like kid that's been trapped in this world, and he has a certain
it's
naivete about him. You know what I mean? And he's
said it like Cartman. Naivete.
That's how you pronounce naivete.
Naivety?
Yeah, but you don't say it like that. You say it like I said it.
Naivete. You say it like Cartman.
Like my naivete. So he is supposed to have this sort of innocence about him, and I think that comes through in his performance. More so that when he's dancing around, it's more like a goofy kid kind of trying to get his head out of like his troubles and just kind of get lost in the music. I think he was good.
Got kind of like a Gene Kelly-ish vibe from him.
Okay.
Like he was just like.
Well, that's a big leap, though. You just said in his music video his dancing was like Gene Kelly-ish.
No, he did. Gene Kelly-ish is like, singing in the rain, like I'm almost like tripping over, but then I catch myself with my other foot, kind of, and I keep doing that while I flail my arms about, kind of, and I hold coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like singing in the rain. Like that's the move that he does as he's walking. Like it's like a dance kind of, like dance gracefully, but
like
walk.
A casual walk, but also like with like grace to it a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I got kind of like he pulled off but if you look at the video, it's just I
feel like I need to link to it in the show notes now.
He does. The song's good. He's a good singer. The music video is probably the person that filmed the music video. You know what I mean?
The director sucks, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the director probably sucked it. He needed Edgar Wright, and it would have made him look a lot better.
There you go.
Edgar Wright should do music videos.
Edgar Wright needs to direct everything.
But he did like the toe move where you go and stand on your toes. So he did that a few times. He did like a lot of the spins. Like it was almost like he was trying to be Michael Jackson a little bit. He made some weird faces in the video. It's just believe me, he's a lot cooler in this movie than he is in.
So did you buy into, like, besides the fact that the style and everything was cool, did you like the tone? Were you into the story? Did you really care what happened to the baby, or were you just like, whatever, this is just cool the way it's made? Because I was into it. I was emotionally invested in their story, even though they do sort of meet kind of randomly, and then we're in love now, and I was like, okay, I guess.
I did care, but at the same time, I didn't care.
That's confusing.
Because he put himself in that position. Like when they said, "Oh, I need you," he could have just left before he went to that job.
Yeah, but I've heard people say that too. There's a point in there in which he technically has an out, and he does not really take that out. Yeah. I think there's character. Without getting into spoilers, I think there's character reasons for why he would react the way he reacted. Like I didn't even bat an eye. I didn't even know that was that. I didn't even think that was like a legitimate out for him.
Because there was no one watching him really.
He's pressured to do.
So he could have done everything that he did, but except no one would be watching him, and he could have just gone on the highway at 90.
Yeah.
With that girl. So I don't know. I just don't.
I didn't really.
So he kind of like put himself in that position, and he made things a hell of a lot worse because he's the one that started off the chain. I almost spoiled things, but I know. He's the one that put off the chain of events at the end of the movie that put off more point.
You were like, "Fuck you, baby. Your life is forfeit.
Yeah.
As long as Deborah gets out of this alive, I'm fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I thought Lily James was really good. For the role that she had. I've heard one of the big criticisms for this movie, too, is, some of the character motivations don't really make sense, like what you just mentioned about Baby, and then Kevin Spacey's character makes a decision towards the last act that
to be okay.
Yeah.
To be on the good side a little bit.
Well, hey, no spoilers. But
that's not really a spoiler.
Kevin Spacey's character sort of makes a decision towards in the third act that some people were like, I don't know if I.
That movie's been out a while.
Like a couple weeks.
We're gonna do spoilers
It's only been out
on
a
war
couple
on
weeks.
the war of the
listening for the
planet
for
of the apes.
We're gonna spoil those apes because that's the point of the
I
episode.
was adding more.
War of the spoilers of the planet.
I was adding more prepositions.
Spoilers of the war for the planet of the apes.
I was saying in the war
on
the planet of the apes or something.
Jeez. But I thought all the character motivations, I thought they were all really, I mean, they made sense to me in the moment. And I think that the film does enough to establish the connections between characters so that when everybody does what they do, that I bought into it. And then the other thing, then this I actually do agree with, is that the female characters, the Darling character and Deborah character, are both kind of underwritten, and you don't really they're more cliches than anything else. She's like, oh, she's the sweet waitress that just wants to escape, and then the other one's like, she's sort of slutty but also really likes loves her man and knows that she can get him to do anything for her and blah blah blah. So I think there is some validity to that, and I mean, I don't think
the only complex character is really Baby.
Yeah, well, it's true. A lot of the characters, even
one of them are most
John
of them
Hamm and Jamie Foxx, they don't have that much.
There's
John
no
Hamm
depth.
has a little more complexity than Jamie
Well,
Foxx.
it's all about Baby.
Yeah.
So
Hence
the
title.
movie is called after him.
Yeah.
So in the movie following just him, you don't really get a lot. I'm sure maybe there was depth to those characters, but the movie chose not to.
The movie is a certain kind of. The movie has a certain kind of style that you don't need to give depth to everyone. It's kind of relying on, as far as narrative shorthand, it's relying on. You know exactly what kind of guy this is. Okay, let's move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't have to dwell on every single character. It's not a character study.
Yeah.
It's not
a television show.
Yeah, it's sort of an exercise in
The
style.
television show would be more of delve into all the characters. It'd be like a Lost. Where
its ambitions lie in the style, in the choreography, in the music selection, in the sound editing, that kind of thing. That's where its ambitions lie. And we're going to craft a really original story. It's like, no, we're going to tell a story that the kind of story you've seen before, but in a way you've never seen it before. And that's the whole point of the film, I feel. And I found it really interesting that it came out earlier this week that Edgar Wright and James Gunn were sort of coordinating their soundtracks a little bit to make sure that they didn't overlap for Guardians Volume 2. So he was like, oh, do you have Queen? No. Do you have, Sam Cooke? No. Do you have that? Like going back and forth. I thought that was super cute. Because both of those movies, the main character has music that they listen to the whole movie, and that's kind of their driving force.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want
setting the tone and setting the atmosphere.
I'm assuming they're friends, so they don't want their music to overlap.
I mean, they had each other's numbers to text each other, so I'm assuming. I guess they know each other. There's a directors club that we're not, unfortunately, a part of.
So, what do you think, though? It's good.
About Baby Driver. Driver. So I have three of my favorite movies of the year. One of them is Logan. One of them is Baby Driver, and one of them is War for the Planet of the Apes. Which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So,
is that in that order?
At the moment, but I don't know if that's going to stay in that order. Because we literally just saw the Planet of the Apes, so it's like I need more time to process.
Wait, get it on Black Friday, watch it a second time,
with the commentary and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I like Baby Driver. I've heard. I'd highly recommend it for people to see, but it's also.
It's not fast paced.
It's not.
It's no Despicable Me.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not Fast and Furious. It's not like a big, loud, dumb movie. If you want a big, loud, dumb movie, then go rent Fate of the Furious on Blu-ray.
The only loud parts are the beginning and the end.
There are action sequences, but it's more
quick.
It's more distinctive than all that. And I think people should at least give it a chance. And the fact that it's doing really well at the box office.
Yeah.
And it's Edgar Wright's highest grossing movie domestically. Already, I think that's a really good sign, and the fact that we're seeing more and more like either original or non-sequels, I guess, sort of hitting at the box office. Between, there's a lot of indie. There's a couple of indies. There's The Big Sick that I've heard a lot about that I need to see, and even Wonder Woman is not. It's not a sequel per se. It's in that franchise, but it's something we've never seen this character in a lead role before. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more of that this summer than not. I've noticed. So that's kind of refreshing, I think, for an original film like Baby Driver to be doing as well as it is.
Your hopes will be
dashed
diminished next year, probably.
I'm sure.
As they oh yeah.
But that being said, I'm excited about The Last Jedi.
As they remake everything and make sequels for everything.
I have heard though that's what worries me is that Sony is kind of mentioned to Edgar Wright, like, hey, would you want to do a sequel to Baby Driver? And I'm like, no, please don't do a sequel. It's good. It was a great movie. Let it be. It doesn't need a sequel. That will just feel forced.
See, I thought that maybe they were going to want to do a sequel because
you could do a sequel
because they have Baby. Was that a spoiler?
I mean, not to say that they have Baby. I mean, that's not. I don't know if that's necessarily a spoiler. Where they could take Baby.
You don't know.
Next.
It could be anything can happen with Baby.
It's true. Exactly.
He could have.
He could be
in a coma. He could
missing
be missing
arms and legs.
He could be He could be amputee. He could be dead and then he came back to life.
Maybe the sequel's about him driving around heaven or hell, trying to find his way back forth. I don't know.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Actually sounds more.
Maybe
fun.
Maybe it ended and he was the getaway driver of heaven.
There you go. There's your pitch, Edgar Wright. But no, I don't really want to see a sequel to that. I'd rather see him do something else original because Edgar Wright's got a lot of really smart, very offbeat, and very, to use sort of a cliche word, visionary.
Yeah.
Perspective on film and what he can accomplish on screen.
There were characters though that they could transition over.
Yeah, there are. There's opportunity for it. I mean, there's not many characters, but there are opportunities for a sequel. I just don't know if I really want to see one. I'd rather see a Hot Fuzz or Scott Pilgrim or something else, like a follow-up to something else, than one of these, because this is very self-contained and it felt like it had a beginning, middle, and end.
He's never had a sequel, has he?
No, not so far.
Okay.
And the novelty of the storytelling with the music and the way it's all edited and stuff, the novelty of that will wear off if you try and push it to a second movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then this film will feel less special.
Yeah.
You know? It's not something like Guardians where that naturally, obviously, there's going to be a million Marvel movies.
I mean, you can make a movie though within the same world.
You could.
Though it's not a sequel per se.
It's another guy with tinnitus.
But maybe it could be like John Bernthal or something like that, and he's in this movie, and then maybe occasionally
for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he has like a movie of his own or something, and he's doing his own thing, same character name within the same world. Maybe he comes across some of the characters. Yeah, like a spin-off type thing.
You could
it's within a world of...
You could almost do like a sort of a Better Call Saul type of deal.
Yeah, they're all crooks.
Like before, but also after or whatever, so you could actually even have characters that don't survive this film show up there in different contexts and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did like the world that this movie created, and it didn't really explain, like, Kevin Spacey's character, like, is he working with other people, or this is like a network and there's like everybody has their territory, like, how does this work exactly?
Yeah, there wasn't much explanation,
which is fine. I don't mind it for this, but I mean, if they wanted to expand things out, they could. I mean, look at John Wick. John Wick was like, oh, there's this hotel and there's these assassins and there's this thing.
Isn't it weird though? He says he doesn't work with the same people twice, but then he has the same people there.
Maybe he means consecutively. I don't know. Yeah, I did notice that too.
I was like, okay, you don't have the same people, but
why are Darling and Buddy here like every heist basically? They're like, hey, we're here again. I'm like, wait, what the hell?
I mean, they weren't there for the second one. There were only 3 heists.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's consecutive. That's what I'm saying. He mixes it up, so it's not like.
But Bats was the second and the third. That's what I'm.
Yeah, maybe they just at that point got. Sort of
he got low on friends or something.
Maybe at that point they were just like desperation to clean up the mess of what was going down and stuff. I don't know. But Baby Driver, is this one of your favorite movies of the year, would you say? Is it up there? Because for me it's a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. I'm also a little more of an Edgar Wright fanboy than you, so that probably helps my rating a little bit.
This is gonna be weird.
Probably.
But as far as entertainment wise, I was probably more entertained
Don't say
by.
Despicable Me.
No.
Okay, I was gonna be like, get the hell out of here.
I was probably more entertained by Galaxy of the Guardians.
Galaxy of the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the dyslexia
It's late.
setting in.
It's late. I was probably more entertained by Guardians of the Galaxy more than this movie.
Right.
It's a different movie though, so you
Obviously.
can't really put it in the same same
I
field.
wouldn't take your kids to see Baby Driver,
No,
for example, because it's more violent. It's a lot of bad language and a lot of
but
blood at some points and things.
quality in movie, Baby Driver is probably it's more artistic.
But because of that, it's in some ways more challenging in a way. Whereas Guardians, you'd be like, let's put on something fun and pop Guardians.
But in ways though, Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of more complex.
I think
Because there are a lot more characters. It's set in a different.
It's a different world.
It creates a different world. It's this one. A lot of the characters were one dimensional.
There's basically like 5 or 6 characters in here, whereas Guardians has at least twice that, like main characters.
I love the indie feel. That's why I said it has like an indie feel to it.
Yeah.
With some stunt driver moves and stuff that you wouldn't necessarily have in an indie film because there's only like a handful of cast members.
Pretty much. And none of the car stuff was like CG or anything either. Like it was all like you can tell when you watch the movie, you can feel that this is practical effects. This is stunt work. This isn't like CG cars like those fast. Again, going back to that, like it's the car thing. Like those Fast and
Fast and Furious though, they take it too far.
Those are like did you see the most recent one?
No, I didn't see
But there's a scene where like all these cars are being remote controlled, and there's like 100 cars turning a corner like it looks like freaking World War Z zombie style. Like, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's like it looks super fake. It's basically a cartoon.
It's gonna get to like Grindhouse level.
Well, they've talked already about like I could see this franchise going to space. I'm like, of course you could, unless they did a faded like Fast and Furious and like Machete, because Machete is going to space at the end of the second movie. Cross those two, then now we're talking. Put Machete into Fast and Furious.
I mean, the Fast and Furious are known to be
ridiculous, and
exclusively
more.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
As they get farther and farther along in the franchise, they get more and more ridiculous. So eventually, it will come to the point where they have like rocket cars in space or something. He's gonna have like a muscle car in space.
Time travel back to the first movie or something.
Yeah.
God, it's getting crazy. So Baby Driver, both highly recommended by both of us for sure.
Yes.
So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it yet, especially if you're a fan of Edgar Wright and his previous films. But yeah, so it's funny that you sort of compared to Guardians, because I do think they both use music in very interesting but also very different.
They both have really good.
They
both have really good soundtracks.
Yeah, I haven't gotten Baby Drivers yet, but
Baby Drivers is a little bit more diverse than Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Songs I didn't really know as much. Guardians maybe about half the songs. I was like, oh yeah, I know this, or I at least knew the artist or something.
Yeah,
most of them. But for this one, I was like, I know Queen, but I don't know that song, and I know a couple of these. Like I think the most recognizable one, and this is not really a spoiler, because it's kind of one of the most central songs in the movie, but whatever, is the Lionel Richie song that's in there. I'm easy.
Oh yeah.
Easy like Sunday morning. That's the only one that I was like, I have that on my iPod. All the other ones is like, what is all this music?
It's such a lighthearted song for such a terrible scene.
It also felt random in the middle when they put it, but whatever.
I think that's intentional though.
Yeah. Well, because
he's listening to it, so he's trying to get his mind away from what he's doing in that moment. Because we're going no spoilers here.
Sorry.
No
you have
spoilers,
the muzzle. You have the muzzle on. You're like,
yeah, I know.
I want to attack.
I want to talk, but let me release me. So he's trying to get his mind off of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So he's putting kind of like a lighthearted, happy song to distract, because that's what the music is. Music is escape. One thing, an escape from his tinnitus, but it's more of an escape from what's happening around him.
Right.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So they say like, it's because of his tinnitus. He got in an accident and he has terrible ringing in his ears now. But it's not about the ringing in his ears. It's more.
It's
about the. Yeah.
I think there are themes and like messaging in this film that are a little deeper than what's on the surface, if you're willing to sort of look at it and examine it more closely.
Because if you go to his apartment when he's with the old man, he's not really listening to music
Not as
the whole
much.
time. He only when he's listening, the songs about Deborah or whatever.
Right.
Then he starts playing the music because he's in a happy mood. But
Just like someone would be like, I'm listening to music while I'm getting dressed to go out for a date or whatever. Things
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
But for everything else, probably. I mean, I don't remember that much music being played other than stuff about him being in love.
Right.
But before that, when he was just the old man's watching television and he's making him a sandwich all the way to the crust, with the peanut butter all the way to the crust.
The stuff with the old man I thought was really good too.
Yeah, it showed a lighter side to him.
Yeah. So Baby Driver, go see it. It's really awesome. And I think before we go any longer, we should just go straight into our review of War for the Planet of the Apes.
Years from now, your children will ask you, what did you do in the greatest war? And you can tell them, I fought to protect this world.
I did not start this war. But I will finish it.
All right, War for the Planet of the Apes, which it's getting kind of ridiculous with these titles, like Rise. Like what's the difference between
Dawn,
a Rise and a
War.
Dawn? Like you would think that they're sort of synonymous. Why did something have to rise before the dawn happens?
Well,
I guess the sun rises and then dawn, I guess.
Yeah.
So is this like the sundown of the Planet of the Apes?
I
So
don't
this
know.
is, of course, the third film in the rebooted Planet of the Apes franchise that started in 2011 with Rupert Wyatt's Rise of the Planet of the Apes and continued in 2014 with director Matt Reeves' Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. See, you notice I always have like a very purposeful pause. I'm like, am I saying the right one?
Yeah.
Matt Reeves, the director of Dawn, comes back here for the third installment and again features Andy Serkis working his mocap ass off as Caesar, the hyper intelligent ape from the first movie that's basically become sort of a resistance leader for ape kind, I guess we'll go with.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, it pits him against Woody Harrelson as the Colonel, and sort of positions itself as kind of in some ways, a last stand of humanity against preventing this from being a planet of apes. Should probably point out we will be going full spoilers. I think we both enjoyed the film. So if you don't want to know anything else other than whether you should see it, I think we both recommend people see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We both.
Or if they
liked it
didn't
a lot.
enjoy the film, they can go suck it.
Go suck an ape.
Go suck.
Whichever part you can find.
That's weird.
Every city has zoos. You don't no excuses. So at this point going forward, we will do spoilers for War for the Planet of the Apes. So going into this, you said you hadn't gotten a chance to see the previous two. So
well, recently I saw them.
Well, yeah.
before.
I mean, yeah, that's what to rewatch. I meant
to rewatch
because
yes.
I own both the Rise and Dawn.
Because if I'm going in and I didn't
You're like,
see
what the
either,
hell?
I'm like, what
They're
the
apes
hell?
on horses.
They're talking. They're on horses.
These apes are on horses.
Is he shooting a gun?
This is crazy shit. But Baby Driver made more sense.
Hey, that's that guy from Zombieland.
Yeah, he seems really mad now. So because I have both of the first two on Blu-ray, and I rewatched them like within the last few days because I hadn't seen Dawn since theaters, and I had the Blu-ray for a long while, and because it was really heavy. It's a really heavy movie, and it was kind of an intense experience. So I was like, oh man, I worry if I watch it, it's not gonna be good, or it's not gonna live up to it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So going into this one, were you at all like confused? Were you like, who the fuck is Koba? Who is this? What's happening? Why does he?
No, I remember
he has
it.
a
I
son?
remember it.
Blah, blah, blah.
I remembered what happened.
Okay, they do also like it's a little ham-handed where they're like, in the beginning there was this virus and it was a rise of the apes. Then at the dawn of a new ape civilization, blah 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 blah. And now there's a war brewing, and it's like, and then it transitions into the title. Like that felt a little forced. It's like, we trust trust that if people want to know or refresh their memory, they'll go back and watch the other two. You didn't really have to recap the whole trilogy, but I guess whatever. It doesn't bother me. It's just, it was a little weird in the beginning. It's like, it felt sort of like on Glee, where they'd be like, it's like someone would be having a fight and they're like, it's not right, but it's okay. And then it'd be like, it's not right, but it's okay. Like really weird transitions where you're like, okay, I get it. You just like, you don't need to lead into it. You just jump into the point of things and not have to be like, here we go. Are you ready? Wink,
remember
wink.
this movie?
Yeah, exactly.
But wait, remember this movie?
Exactly.
Now this movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're gonna.
Hey.
This is the next movie.
It's the next movie. Time for this one. Time for the war. So, I saw, like I said, I saw the first two recently. The first one I think is really strong, Rise, and I think what works the most about that movie is the surprise element, is that no one expected, after Tim Burton's version, which is fine but not very good ultimately. Yeah. Not that we're shitting on Tim Burton, it's just that movie was like, his take on it wasn't really that interesting. It didn't really cut very deep emotionally, and it didn't have very much richness to it. It was just like sort of almost a satire.
Didn't even feel like a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, it was weird. After that, 10 years later, for that movie to come out and do a prequel and sort of legitimize the franchise, because those I mean, this is a franchise that was pretty much like Rubber Masks in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And, the first one is considered still a classic, but some of those sequels, I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't seen, we should probably say, I've never seen any but the original, and that was like a long time ago. I don't even know if you were probably in the room, but you might have been little or something when we watched it at one point.
Yeah, I didn't
so you don't remember it at all. But, so we're coming in, like, this is our Planet of the Apes franchise. You know how people are like, Christian Bale is my Batman. I'm like, well, fuck you, Michael Keaton all day long, or whatever.
Yeah.
This is our Planet of the Apes. People will come in with like, Roddy McDowall, y'all. And I'm like, no, Andy Serkis is the lead of the ape movies. What the fuck's wrong with you? I like the first one, and I think it has a really strong narrative, and I think the way that it brings that kind of goofy, outdated franchise and modernizes it and gives us this, like, actually tries to explain how, because the big twist at the end of the first movie is that the Planet of the Apes is Earth, and that the astronaut was in a time warp or whatever. I think it's effort to try and go back and explain how that happened, I think, is what made that movie feel so fresh. Plus, of course, the kind of proof of concept that Andy Serkis and the motion capture could actually pull this off. I mean, granted, he'd done it in Lord of the Rings and stuff, but this is not a creature in Middle Earth. This is an animal, like, we all know what they look like. We know how they act. We know what they we've all seen apes before. Mm-hmm. At zoos or TV or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's harder to kind of trick the eye with something that's more tangible like that. So I like the first one, but the second one is where I was. The first one I didn't even see in theaters. I think you were like, guys, we gotta watch this movie, and I was like, okay. So you actually showed us. I think I saw it the first time because you put it on. Yeah. And so I like that a lot. But the second one is when I saw it in theaters, and I wasn't even prepared for that. The second one blew me away. Like, the first one to me is a 4-star. The second one I think is like a 5-star out of 5. The second one was just, it took that character to such a, like, deep, like, personal place, and it had a lot to say about apes and humanity, and like how mankind sort of wreaks havoc on itself. And there's a whole metaphor going on that I saw in it, where it's like two cultures just misunderstanding and misinterpreting each other, like the apes and humans. Mm-hmm. And sort of the fear in the fear of the other, the fear of that group that you don't understand, and the way that tensions can mount, and the tipping point, from which violence can sort of spur. And I think that Dawn did a really good job of having both ape and human characters that you can root for and that you can hate, but all of whom you can sort of understand where they're coming from. I mean, Koba is the villain of that movie, but you get why he feels the way that he does. You know what I mean? You're not behind him, but his motivation is justified.
You understand his point of view.
Exactly. Because he's like, human work, pointing to all his scars and stuff.
Yeah.
And it really, in that movie, because it opens on Caesar at the beginning of the movie when they're hunting, and he's like so determined and so sure of himself and leading his apes into like whatever. And then at the end, it closes again on a close-up of his eyes, and he's just like full of like doubt and anxiety. Like he has no idea what the hell is going to happen next. And that leads us into war. So I was really hyped for this movie in a way that I wasn't hyped for the other two. Like I was excited to see Dawn, but I wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Because like Rise wasn't like my. It was good, but it wasn't like my jam.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorite movies that year or anything like that. So I was super hyped for this one.
So did this one go up to your expectations?
I don't know if I like it quite as much as Dawn. I think that there are parts in this movie in the middle act where it does kind of like sag a little bit, where all the apes are in. Again, we're in spoilers, so where all the apes are in like the prison and Caesar's kind of held captive and they're trying to figure out a way in there and blah blah blah, all that. And I think that does kind of drag a little. This movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't think it needed to necessarily be that long. I feel like you could have probably trimmed like maybe 10 minutes out of this somewhere.
I think that they should have gone somewhere else with the storyline instead of keeping them in the prison that long. And my issue is more with the last like 10 minutes of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
do you want to go into that now? Or?
No. Well,
we'll hold off
finish
to
my
that.
Thoughts on that. But so for me, it falls probably right between Rise and Dawn. I think Dawn is still the best of this trilogy. I mean, I feel like isn't that kind of the case with a lot of trilogies though? Like the first one, you're like, okay, that was good. It introduced me to stuff. That's cool. The second one is like, oh, you know these people. And we're going to tell you a fucking awesome story. And we're going to leave your ass hanging there. And then the third one, you're like, all right, we're going to end that story. But it's the middle part where it like, it doesn't have to do any of the work of establishing who the characters are. But it also doesn't have to do the work of wrapping up the story. It kind of has the luxury of leaving you on like a high note. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking of Empire Strikes Back. I'm thinking of Spider-Man 2. I'm thinking of other stuff. I don't know. There's other ones that I'm blanking on. The Dark Knight. Did I say The Dark Knight?
No.
Okay. Terminator 2, I guess, is part of a trilogy, sort of, even though there's like 5 of them. And I feel like Dawn still has the edge because of that. But War is also really strong.
Well,
and
it's also it's taking a fresh take on Planet of the Apes too, because
Rise was the first one that was the fresh take though.
Well, no, it's all a fresh take because they didn't delve into any of this in the. So you could you could maybe watch this and then watch that.
Well,
the other one.
Well, I think that is the intention because that character, his son
is
Cornelius.
Meant to be that.
Yeah, okay, you didn't know. I don't know how much you know about the old movies. I know like some, but not really much. Like because I haven't seen. This movie kind of makes me want to go back and watch.
I was hoping Caesar was gonna be the main person, but I didn't really know I didn't really know the main character in the other movies. I was hoping Caesar.
From what I understand, in those old movies, Caesar is sort of like a mythic figure, I think, to them, so which makes sense because it ties into the end of this movie. Yeah. Because spoilers, guys, Caesar dies. Spoilers. We said spoilers like 4 times. So Caesar dies here, and the way it ends with Maurice sort of being like, your son will know who his father was. Everyone will know what Caesar did. Blah blah blah. So it sort of puts him down as like a martyr, like he sacrificed himself for ape kind, and I like the word ape kind. I'm gonna keep using it. He sacrificed himself for ape kind, and he's sort of like not their Jesus figure, but like their George Washington sort of. He's like, he established this society for us, and blah blah blah. He fought for us, and all that stuff because he does through all 3 movies. So okay, I guess what were your overall thoughts, and then we'll get into more specific things.
Like I said, the last 10 minutes I had an issue with. I just wanted the end to be a little bit more climactic, and it wasn't for me. Okay. The whole Woody Harrelson thing, I thought maybe that could have been done a little bit better.
So we should, I guess, clarify for if some people are listening to this
that he gets the virus.
There's the virus, the simian flu that gets what killed a lot of humanity between the first and second movie, and then this movie establishes that even the people that carry the virus that don't show symptoms, that it's sort of evolved over time, I guess, and the humans are starting to regress and into, I guess, more beast-like, more primitive, so that they can't talk. They're like kind of less expressive than they used to be, which is an interesting reversal in that the apes are essentially becoming the humans, and the humans are sort of becoming the apes, which is the way it is in the original films. It's like a lot of the humans are more submissive and sort of like confused or whatever, and they like can't really express themselves, and because of that they're not very organized against the apes in the original movie, which is why Charlton Heston's like, what's wrong with you people or whatever. So I think so basically, okay, so what are your thoughts of the movie as a whole? I mean, other than the last 10 minutes, did you like it?
I liked it a lot.
Did it live up to the previous two, which is the three?
I liked the second one maybe more.
Okay, yeah, see, me too.
But like I said, the majority of the movie I found very good, and then toward the end it just seemed kind of rushed.
Right.
Almost in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of buy that.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like how that guy that he ended up saving shot Caesar.
Oh yeah, you didn't like that?
I was expecting him to maybe help him out
or something,
because they kept hinting to that throughout the whole movie. They did. Is that he felt like maybe they weren't
on the right
savages
side or
and weren't on the right side, and that he wasn't an animal. But then he goes and he does what he does, and then he gets killed with a grenade launcher.
Well, they gave that arc to the gorilla that saved Caesar's life, like right before that.
And I also didn't like that either.
Oh, you didn't.
That happened so quick. This is a major character that's been through. I'm pretty sure that Ape's been through all the movies.
I don't think so. I don't think so. To me, the only ones in here that were in all the movies were. Caesar, obviously, and then Maurice is in all three, and then Rocket.
Rocket's been there too.
Rocket was locked up in the the cage in the first movie with
Koba.
Draco Malfoy being an asshole or whatever. No, Koba actually was in the laboratory. That's where he came from.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, I was talking about not the laboratory. I was talking about the ape sanctuary or whatever. Where Draco Malfoy was being a dick and spraying everybody with water. And then he gets electrocuted and stuff. So, and Rocket's son was Ash, and Ash got killed in the second movie because Koba was trying to prove a point to Blue Eyes, which, see, I told you I just watched them all. Koba was trying to prove his authority to Blue Eyes, so he threw his friend off this balcony and be like, hey, follow Koba now. Blue Eyes is Caesar's older son, who, spoilers, also dies in this movie early on, which I kind of heard about because it's in the first 15 minutes of the movie or so. Yeah. So when Caesar loses his older son and his wife, that's what kind of sets that character on a dark path. So, okay, so you liked the majority of the movie, but the way it ended, it didn't quite wrap up for you, especially seeing that this is clearly supposed to be the end of at least Caesar's trilogy. I mean, I'm sure they'll make more movies, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do a time jump and then Cornelius is our main character now.
Yeah. I mean, I just felt like everything was rushed. Like I said,
throughout the whole movie, or just towards the
end?
I
felt like the prison thing was maybe stretched a little too much.
Yeah, that.
And then toward the end, they were like, okay, we're going it's gonna be like a 3-hour movie here.
Almost out of time, guys.
Let's just all right. He gets the virus real quick, and then he ends up committing suicide. This guy, even though we planted a whole bunch of seeds for him to be on Caesar's side, let's just pretend like he just shoots him from far away because he's a great shot. We already established that. And then the ape that was originally on Koba's side that hates Caesar, he's going to come back and shoot a grenade launcher, and then he's just going to get killed, just aimlessly for no reason at all. That whole thing. That whole thing we established, and then all the little seeds that they planted was all within 2 seconds.
Yeah. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom.
Exactly.
A little finesse with my storytelling.
Yeah,
please.
Exactly. So I was just like,
I mean, I buy into some of that.
And then he dies. I'm like,
oh, Caesar?
Yeah, and I was like, this is so stupid.
How dare you?
You just wanted him to die, so you planted that guy there. And also, I didn't like how the avalanche just happened to come and wipe. That's how the human race. I mean, I wanted a little bit more of like,
Well, that's how that
let's kill them
military
all.
is, yeah.
Well, that's like they're we're the apes are safe. All the military is done.
Yeah.
We can now take over.
There's the end of the war, yo.
It's the end of the war. They all got killed by an avalanche, and that's how we all get extinct.
I was hoping that would go in
part.
a different direction. I was hoping that when the military, I said this to you while we were watching, I was hoping when the military came in, the helicopters and stuff, I was like, wouldn't it be badass if they're all apes? And they like come in, and the apes are like, oh shit, the humans are gonna come and kick our ass or whatever, and then they start firing on the.
That would have been better than what happened.
And then they find out, holy shit, there's a whole bunch of other evolved apes out in the world. We've already kind of won the war, and we just didn't even know it.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was gonna happen.
See, that would be a lot better, but
and then because they all had their they were all like in like gear, like you couldn't even see hands or faces or anything. So I was like, oh snap, we're gonna see an ape.
It could be like that funny ape that you thought was a human.
Oh man, we'll get into bad ape. They established that up front that there were other evolved apes out there that weren't part of Caesar's, I guess, tribe or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Bad Ape was kind of wandering around, and he learned how to talk, and he learned how to like dress in clothes and everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of hoping for, and they didn't go that route. I didn't like the Woody Harrelson's death scene. I thought it felt anticlimactic, but in a good way, I think, because it was what I said.
But it was the combination of that with all the other stuff,
right,
that I didn't really like.
It was the reversal about where, like I mentioned, with the whole with the virus evolving, of the apes turning into humans and the humans turning into apes. It was sort of because in the second movie, Caesar has this whole epiphany that he thought that apes were better than humans. He thought that we were, apes strong together, and that the apes weren't as corruptible as the humans. They were like a family, and they don't turn against their own kind. Apes do not kill apes and all that.
Yeah.
And when Kobo goes freaking apeshit and basically starts this war...
Apeshit.
That wasn't even intentional. Yeah. When Kobo goes apeshit and starts the war, he basically realizes, I guess, we are no better.
We did see some apeshit in this, too.
It's true, we did. He realizes that the apes are a lot more like the humans than he thought they were. And I think him sort of standing over Woody Harrelson with a gun while he's like sort of like mumbling and can't really like function.
Yeah.
That kind of completed that arc in a way where it's like, oh shit, apes really are kind of exactly like humans. So in that way, like the symbolism of that moment, I think really worked. Plus, it's a little, we already had the two of them sort of like, we had their face off already earlier in the movie. I thought that was kind of a way of subverting expectations. You think he's going to go in there and there's going to be like a big shootout and like a big dramatic moment where one of them's going to, like, Caesar doesn't even die by the colonel's hands. He died by one random soldier guy that we met earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
So I like that part. Everything else afterwards that you're talking about, the avalanche and all the way that everything's shoot, boom, grenades, boom. I thought I agree with you a little bit on some of that. I like my idea better with the army being apes, but they didn't want to go that route. But I did sort of figure that Caesar would probably die in this one because I heard it has like a sense of closure to it. I'm like, okay, that means he's gonna die probably.
Yeah, but I didn't like that because
you didn't like the way he died, or
I didn't like the way he died. And
should he also gone out in blaze of glory, just like fuck you?
No, I don't think he should have died at all.
You didn't want him to die.
I didn't want him to die at all. I thought that was so stupid. And also, if they were ever going to bring James Franco's character back,
oh yeah,
that would have been a perfect time to like.
I think he's dead at this point.
Yeah, but they never have said anything about him.
You just sort of assume he's dead.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, we're just going to ignore that he ever existed. Like he's never. I mean,
they go back to
this guy. This guy raised Caesar and everything, but he's never going to mention him.
He goes back to his house and. Excuse me, Leon. In the second one. He goes back to his house, and Jason Clarke, the main male lead,
it would have been different if maybe you saw James Franco and he was like an ape or something.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean? Like cool. Briefly, and then Caesar takes over, and then he pretends that
he takes care of him.
Like he takes care of him, like he did.
I kind of like that idea too. I like our ideas better. I like our alternate.
Kind of like the what's the book like. the mom that takes care of the son, and then she gets old.
Yeah.
It'd be like kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought, bro, you put both of our ideas together, we got a fucking amazing.
I like that conclusion better a little bit.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't have been as sped up, and it would have made a little bit more sense. That's my only beef with the movie. The rest of it's good.
The way it ended, you were like, "What the fuck?" But the rest of it was cool for you.
The rest of it was great. The end part and the whole cage thing was too long.
A little too long, yeah.
You know, but if they shortened that a little bit,
yeah,
and then
tweaked that ending,
and then tweaked the ending to like maybe 10 minutes more.
Or something that makes more sense.
Or something at least that makes more sense. Then it would have been a lot better.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It was like, how... I mean, I understand there was a big explosion and they were in the hills and there was an avalanche. Like, it would start an avalanche and everything. But how perfect is that? That's... I mean, it just seems like a little too good to be true. You know what I mean? So... And I didn't like that he died. I thought it would be better if he ended up living, and like I said, like then they leave the possibility for the whole James Franco arc to come back
Basically,
around.
you just really want to see more James Franco.
Well, I just don't like how they completely ignored. You know, if he died, I want to see that he died. You know.
Well, I mean,
if he's an important enough character that you should have at least kept him in the second movie, and then maybe had him die or something.
His lab assistant was like patient zero. Remember, there was like the heavier set guy that was like his like lab tech working with the. He was the one that sneezed and like, oh, they found his body or whatever in the first movie. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a good chance that James Franco's not around anymore.
Like he caught the disease
Probably,
as well.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, but show it
But these movies are not about. These movies are not about James Franco's character. These movies are about Caesar.
No, but it was about James Franco's character in the first movie.
Yeah, and then the second one pivoted off of him and pivoted on to Caesar. But I think Caesar's more interesting.
I know, but it's just I don't like how they completely ignore the character completely.
Right.
When he does have that's the whole reason why he has an attachment to humans in the first place, is because he understands that humans can be not just with, just hateful.
Right.
That they can show a little compassion and they're a lot better than what all the other apes are seeing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the whole reason for his character. So to just completely ignore the character that made the character, it just doesn't make any sense.
You wanted a little more sense of a little more closure there.
A little more closure.
I understand that.
If they, like I said, if it ended somehow with James Franco ended up being an ape or something like that, which would close it, and also explain the plot for the other movies and show what could come. Because if he was going to be, he would probably be the first one infected. The first one infected, the first one to become dumbed down, and the first one to show the full side effects of the thing.
What if Caesar was dying and he looked down like the hill and he saw like Ape James Franco hanging out with like his people?
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, this is where I belong. I'm good now. And then he died. He turns to the camera. He's like, "You happy, Freddy?"
That would be
Franco. Fuck up.
That would be a little bit too perfect. That's almost as perfect as an avalanche crumbling the rest of humanity.
Almost. That's what you're saying. It's an improvement.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
It would have been better. It would have been at least entertaining. Like,
we should probably just state for the record that Andy Serkis is freaking awesome in this.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, he's great he's good in everything. Movies. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think Gollum and Caesar are both like on that. They're like Caesar's up to the Gollum level just about. I think Gollum. I think he transforms himself. Maybe even. I don't know if more necessarily, but he does more of a transformation with his voice to do Gollum, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Than he does as Caesar, but I mean he nails like the physicality of it and everything. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about these movies, is that the main ape characters are all performed by actors in mocap suits. Andy Serkis is giving a performance, and then they lay the CGI on top of it. it's not just CG, but his contribution.
The expressions, the CGI and the expressions,
right, that's all him.
are so. Yeah, I know, but the CGI that can pick up on those expressions, I mean, it's awesome.
Right.
Because the faces are so expressive, down to like the eyes and everything. I mean, they probably keep the eyes the way they are. I would assume.
Maybe they're different colors and stuff, but they capture the eyes.
Maybe they put contacts in or something. But even like in the expression in the eyes, around the just the facial features.
But he's doing like the body movements and like the.
Yeah, no, but I'm just showing how. I'm just saying how expressive.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if you're going to see a movie and it's all CGI, but they're all like blank-faced apes.
Yeah.
Like
Polar
just
Express.
like just like just all like the same, like not the same face, but just the same look on their face.
The same expressionless faces. Yeah. That was Kai got kind of weirded out when I showed her Polar Express like several years ago. She was like, "Whoa, they're all like zombies." I'm like. Yeah, they sort of are. I guess I could see that because that's also motion capture. And
is it really?
Yeah, and you can't tell it's motion capture because it doesn't look like motion capture really. Not compared to these movies or Gollum.
What part of Polar Express?
What part? Oh, what do you mean? What part? They're all motion. It's all motion capture.
No, I mean, but it's like
they have like the dead eyes. Is what you're saying.
Oh, they have dead eyes in the movie.
They just kind of look like we're going to the North Pole. Oh, that's cool.
It's creepy. Maybe they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all zombie children. Maybe they died and it's like going off to heaven. They call it the North Pole for quote
for the Polar Express to heaven.
So what did you think about?
Speaking of zombies.
Oh, okay.
What if Woody Harrelson, his character in Zombieland,
it turns into this guy?
Turned into this guy.
I could see that. He actually lost a son in Zombieland too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
The virus
when he
also has side effects.
He said I had a son and it died, and I was like,
also,
and then he started telling people it was
There's a virus. There's a virus.
That's true.
Maybe some of them became so dumb and then they wanted to eat human flesh.
That's true. Where is Emma Stone in this universe though?
Virus took her.
No, not Emma Stone. I love Emma Stone. How do you feel? What did you think about some of the other ape characters in here? We already talked about Maurice and Rocket. And of course, Bad Ape being like the biggest, most notable like addition. I thought he was really funny, and I thought
it's good to have a comedic character in a movie.
They
like
needed
this
something
too.
like that because this movie's maybe darker than the last one, and the last one's pretty dark.
Yeah.
And I think you needed some character to sort of give you that little bit of tension release. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bad Ape, played by Steve Zahn, I think he brought that, and I think he was funny and quirky without being like an obnoxious. Like I don't think he'd ever really crossed out into obnoxious. Mm-hmm. Just like he had sort of
it wasn't in your face. That's why.
Yeah. He had sort of I don't know, like an innocent cluelessness a little bit going on, just because
with the facial expressions.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of it was facial expression. It's like Groot, Again, comparing to Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, this is not Baby Driver, but again, comparing to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Groot, all he said is, I am Groot, but the facial expressions and the character makes the character.
Right.
Like when he goes and he stabs and slams.
Movie.
Yeah, in the first movie, he slams him, and then he turns and smiles. I mean, those little the facial expressions make the character.
Yeah, they go a long way.
And then this one, with Bad Ape, they use the facial expressions, so he's not necessarily talking in order for you to be amused with him.
Right.
Otherwise, if it's just him being like, "Oh, I don't know. Oh no. Bad place. Bad ape. Bad place," then it would have been like, okay, you're a little whiny. Let's ease up a little bit. But it's the facial expressions went a long way with that.
But the fact that he didn't know what was going on actually fit the character because he existed sort of on his own plane all these years and everything. And I think it felt more organic with the story than if it was just some annoying ape that was in Caesar's group. It's like, oh, Caesar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dropping stuff. Oh. And I liked seeing Maurice and Rocket taking such prominent roles here. I feel like they had more screen time here than in either of the previous movies, which was cool because the film, even though it's the third one and it's ostensibly the most epic in scope, it is a very sort of intimate story where it's just Caesar and 3 or 4 other characters sort of wandering around on their little mission, as opposed to, I feel like the last one was really like set within the apes, the apes' home, and it involved kind of a lot of the community of apes more than just as few. I mean, this involved the community of apes as it goes along because they all got captured and shit. But for most of the first maybe 2/3 or half at least of the movie, it's just kind of these small groups sort of on a little almost like western-y type mission, riding horses, being like, we need to go find those people in the next town, pilgrim, that kind of thing. And I like that aspect of it because it hones in even more so on Caesar's journey and having lost his family and that kind of thing.
Also, there was no big climactic fight between the humans and the apes as well.
Did you not like that? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Like, it wasn't for a war movie. It wasn't very war-y.
No, it was more like.
Well, there's a big battle in the beginning.
That wasn't a battle. That was just them being ruthless in killing a whole bunch of apes.
I guess. Yeah. Okay.
They killed 63 apes or whatever, and then they only got 10 of their men because they all had guns.
Fair point.
I would have liked a little bit more of a stand, instead of the Shawshank. You know what I mean?
You wanted an army of apes kind of staring down.
They're like, "Oh, meet me by the tree."
It's interesting that by the tree.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Morgan Freeman.
That's right.
Meet me by the tree.
I remember now.
I'll be by the tree. The tree is the desert.
Why does he sound even older than he really is? He sounds older than he is now. And that movie was 20-something years ago.
Oh, meet me. What's the guy's name?
Andy Dufresne is the other guy. Is Tim Robbins? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Tim Robbins, meet me by the tree.
That's the actor's name, though. The character's name is Andy Dufresne.
I'm God. No? That's something more Freeman?
God.
So yeah,
I forgot what we were.
I don't even know where we were. Oh yeah, I would have liked a bigger fight scene though.
Yeah,
a little bit bigger.
Something.
There was no climactic fight. If it's a war, where's the war?
That's what I'm saying. It was very war.
Where's the war come?
There was more.
It would be like Survive scene. Of the Planet of the Apes.
There was more of a battle scene in the last.
Survive
movie.
in the Planet of the Apes.
Survival of the Planet. That'll be the next one. Survival of the Planet of the Apes or something.
No, there is no survival. This would be the survival of the Planet of the Apes.
There
is no war.
They need random nouns.
There was more of a war in the second one.
That's what I was about to say. There was the whole scene at the end with Koba on the tank and shit, and they were fighting the army of not army, but they were fighting the humans in their little, I don't know, Zion style compound or whatever. So what did you think about the little girl whose name eventually ends up being Nova? Was that pretty blatant product placement? Did Chevy get some money for that?
Yeah.
I feel like it when they pull that thing.
Chevy and the Coca-Cola.
Chevy.
Did you see the broken down Coca-Cola truck?
I didn't really notice that one. No.
I was like, that's good product placement. They're just walking. They're just walking by a Coca-Cola truck.
You're like, for some reason, I feel like I want to buy a Coke and drink it while I'm driving around in my Chevy. My Chevy Nova. Weird. I thought she was fine, the little girl.
Yeah, no.
I mean, she wasn't great. She wasn't amazing. She wasn't X-23. But I think that she served her purpose.
It was a development for Caesar's character.
Right. She was there as a device for Caesar.
And other characters.
Maurice and there was a lot of interaction with her, which I liked.
So it wasn't overwhelming, as well. They didn't overtake the movie.
Yeah.
So I had no issue.
It felt a little like Aliens,
told you all my
too.
issues. What do you want from me?
It felt a little like Aliens because there's a little blonde girl in Aliens too, but she actually talks and stuff. Aliens. Why are you confused?
Game over, man.
Yeah, there's a little girl in that movie.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Newt. She's with Ripley the whole time. Get away from her, you bitch. Ripley says to the alien to get away from the little girl.
You need
to rewatch
she talks?
Dude. Yeah, she talks.
So
she's quiet for some of the movie though.
The only similar thing between this and Aliens is that the girl is blonde, about the same age,
and also has their names four-letter name that starts with an N. Her name is Newt, and her name is Nova. Blew your mind, didn't I? That's also a war movie, but it has more battling than this one does.
Yes, a lot more battle. And there's no war in the title.
That's true.
It could have been War on the Aliens.
War for the aliens of the... Yeah, War for the Planet of the Aliens. There you go.
Yeah. And that would have made more sense than War for the Planet of the Apes.
I was glad they didn't bring Koba back because the way it ended.
Because pretty much all it was is that there's a war. Oh, there's a war. Oh shit. Oh, they're all dead. Yeah. Oh shit. Avalanche. War's over.
And they're all okay.
The most unclimactic war.
I guess. Well, but they're gonna. I mean, there's gonna be
the only unclimactic thing is if someone just dropped a nuke on the whole thing and everyone just died. That's like the only thing they could top.
And then Porky Pig pops up like that's
awful.
You're like, the fuck?
Where'd the pig come from? Pigs can talk too. Okay, what were you gonna say about Koba?
I'm glad they didn't bring Koba back because the way.
What do you mean? Because he fell into like the abyss or
and
something.
We were like, where did he go? I guess he's dead. And then there's like at the end of the credits of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, there's like you can hear like some ape breathing, and some people were speculating like 3 years ago, like, oh shit, does that mean he's still alive? And I'm glad they didn't. And then I saw Toby Kebbell's name in the credits on IMDb as Koba, and I was like, oh shit. Don't bring him back. Let him die because then it ruins that. It ruins the moment that Caesar's like, yeah, apes do not kill apes unless apes are fucking assholes. Then apes kill apes. Fuck you, Koba. And he drops him. He's like, I thought apes going. He's like, apes do not kill apes. He's like, you are not ape, and he drops him.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That was a great moment.
Yeah.
So I thought,
where's that moment in this movie?
I was worried this movie was gonna rein that in and mess it up for me. But he's in this just in like.
The way have like donkey on the back of him. I'm not ape.
Yeah,
I'm like donkey.
Read it. I need an ogre to
donkey. In the swamp. Oh, here's your grenade. No.
So I'm glad that he's in this, but just only like in a couple brief instances, because Caesar's haunted by. Is there
a moment like that in this movie? You'd be like, oh,
well, I've seen that movie a lot more. Well, okay, twice.
If I saw that movie just now, though.
Yeah, that's true. No, I know. That's why. I mean, this is a good movie. This is still a great movie, but the other one's like
Guardians is better than this.
Dawn is like a masterpiece to me. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is like one of the best sci-fi. I even tweeted it earlier today. One of the best sci-fi movies of like the last decade.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay.
And I think collectively, this trilogy is probably one of the stronger trilogies of the 2000s. I put it up there with like Lord of the Rings and the Dark Knight trilogy. Maybe Captain America and probably something else I'm not thinking of. I put these apes movies in that category. But yeah, this one didn't live up to the last one, but it also wasn't one of those like Back to the Future 3 where you're like, oh, those first two, and then the last one's fine.
I was just thinking about that.
It's alright. It's what it is.
I was literally just thinking about that.
Because I sort of feel
I was going to compare really? Back to the Future to this. Like, because the second one is like so much better, and the first one is like, it's good. It's like really good.
Like, I think the first Back to the Future movie is a better movie, but I like the second one better because I saw it more as a kid, and it was just like.
Well, the second one is more fun.
Yeah,
the first one is just a better movie.
Yeah. But I don't feel that way about these movies. I feel like the second one is a better movie, yeah. And it is,
And then I was gonna compare this one to Back to the Future.
I sort of feel like, because I feel the same way about Dark Knight Rises that I do about this movie. Like I think it's good, it's fine, it's the weakest of the trilogy, but it's still really strong.
As I'm talking about this with you,
this is stronger than Dark Knight Rises.
Actually, as I'm talking about this with you, I think I like this one the least.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm not surprised. I like how you started out being like, it's really great, except those last 10 minutes. And now you're like, yeah, fuck this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, in real time, you've heard this like, his opinion, like, evolve over the last half hour.
Yeah, well, I came in thinking, oh, it's not as good as the second one, but it's better than the first one. And then as I'm talking about it, and I'm critiquing it, and I'm reflecting over the movie, because we had just seen it, right. I'm like, actually, no, this isn't as good as the first one. The first one was pretty rock solid, and it had a pretty good basis for the rest of the movies coming forward. This one, it wasn't a good closure to that trilogy. At least for me, it wasn't a good closure for those movies.
Right.
It
was a good closure for me, but I think you made some valid points, and it still pales in comparison to the last one. Is my thing, but that's a high bar that I had for that previous movie. So
I came in with no bar. That's how I did with all these movies. I come in with no bar. I'm like, oh, that was actually really good. And
the
then
bar in the movie theater had a spider bite drink, though. That was that bar.
Yeah.
So
not
there was
that.
a bar there. We didn't have it.
There wasn't
we weren't drinking anything.
Yeah, we weren't drinking anything. It would have made the movie a little bit better.
We were like, yes, either.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, avalanche. Where'd that come from? Who
Crazy
knows?
shit, y'all. Turn around to the people behind me like, did you see that shit?
You made me lose my train of thought. I'm tired. Yeah, so it's my least favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I still like it better than Rise because I don't have a hard on for James Franco the way that
No,
you
it's
do.
not. It's not that I have a hard on for James Franco. It's just I don't like how they didn't have a closure with their relationship. You know, everyone else they have a closure with the relationship.
But that was the only relationship.
But that was the only good relationship.
In the first,
The strong relationship. Every other's relationship, like, okay, this is my wife. Oh, this is my son. Oh, this is my friend. But that one made more sense. The friend one, because that's from the first one. But there was no the relationship with James Franco. They didn't even mention it.
The thing with him and Caesar and his son in the second one.
Like, they didn't even mention it. They didn't even show him being upset about it. Like, maybe like 5 seconds when he was at the house, and maybe looking at a picture or something, or picking up
between the first and second movie, it jumps like 10 years. So sometime in that 10, you want a flashback to like 5 years before, where he's like, "No, James Franco."
Well, you would assume that maybe he didn't die, you know?
I guess.
And then it go full circle around.
The whole point is the movies decided to pivot from,
and then he says, "I love you forever. I love you for always." Something for the end of that book.
Oh, that is a bit, yeah.
Yeah, the one.
Now, if James Franco had shown up here as his character from The Interview, that would have been awesome. Like, he flies in on a helicopter. He's like, "We're gonna interview this ape, Caesar," and he's like, "Dave Skylark," that kind of thing.
Oh.
Then I would have been down. That would have been awesome. I'd be like, "Yeah." That guy, like scientist from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, went and became a sleazy photo, television.
And then Maurice comes in there and he's like, does the sign. He's like, he's honeypotting you.
Like, yeah, there you go. That's the mashup we want to see. I also liked. I thought it was cool how. The apes that turned from the apes to serve the humans were called donkeys, because it's pretty obviously like a Donkey Kong reference, which I thought was pretty clever.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
There was a lot of little things like that I thought were cute and kind of interesting. They
didn't even show Winter. Did he kill Winter?
I think he killed Winter on accident when he was like, "Shut the fuck up! People are gonna hear." And then
so no one even realized that Winter was dead.
Well, we didn't see. We didn't hang out with the humans. You want to hang out with the humans? The humans are boring.
I know, but he was like, "Oh, how did you find out that information? Why didn't you just say?"
He's like,
"Well, I went to your base.
He's like,
killed your white ape."
He didn't want to say anything, and then.
Well, I thought that was out of protection.
Be that way, asshole.
I thought that was out of protection for Winter, maybe. No, but then Winter's just dead?
Yeah, I think, yeah. That was my understanding.
I thought he just made him unconscious, because it seemed like he was still breathing. I thought I heard him. He was like listening and breathing. I'm pretty sure he was.
I didn't care. He was dumb. I'm glad that he killed him. Or not.
So is that base there? I thought they moved everyone to that.
Dude, I don't have
just so many unanswered questions.
Yeah, you're like, I need another
so
movie
many,
with this.
so many
James
plot
Franco.
holes, so many things that they said, but then it wasn't the case.
I'm sorry, you're disappointed.
Yeah, just like
Come on.
in Baby Driver. If you don't use the same crew twice, then don't show me bats again.
In a movie that uses the same crew constantly. It's like, we have a 4-person crew, but we use the same 3 people in every
this
job.
movie.
Right? Basically,
we couldn't afford any other extras for this last one.
It's like we only have
so
the
we'll just
budget
use
for
the
many,
one from the first and then bats from the second.
We only have the budget for so many name actors for this movie, so Jamie Foxx, you'll have to be here for most of this film.
Don't put in that line, bro.
I guess that's true. Did you have any other thoughts on this? Or where do we want to see the franchise go? Because this is the end of Caesar, but I'm pretty sure this is not the end of this franchise. Fox makes a shit ton of money.
I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, wow. So you're done. I'm out, bro. I'm folding. I'm cashing my chips and being like, fuck these apes.
See you later.
Wow. Yeah, I think what I could see them doing is in the fourth film, which are tentatively titled Survival of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I could see Andy Serkis still staying on board and then have him play Cornelius, grown up. Playing his, like, have him play the son of his other character. Because, as we said, Cornelius is a huge character in the other movies and such.
Well, what would be the storyline for a next one?
I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. You got to pay me money if you're going to be trying to get me a
if that's all the humans or the majority of the humans,
I mean, that was the
what
military.
would be the story?
That was the human military. There's still humans out there somewhere. I mean, there's even humans.
Yeah,
in the old movies.
but they're all getting viruses and turning into apes themselves.
Ape people or whatever.
So what is the storyline? Is it going to be
what are the
picking?
humans going to contribute?
Yeah, is it going to pick up with someone coming in later and then be like, damn you all to hell,
damn dirty apes.
Exactly. Is that how it's going to be?
Well, that's how the first movie was too. That's the funny thing. This movie, like,
it picks up on the beach.
The second and third,
the Statue of
I'm
Liberty.
surprised there wasn't a Statue of Liberty thing in this movie.
I thought maybe they would end with the war on Ellis Island.
Fourth movie. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's more humans. The war
it should have been in this one.
Well, they already had a battle for the Planet of the Apes in the other movies. So what's another like combat term other than war and battle?
Fight.
Skirmish. Skirmish on the Planet of the Apes. Melee on the Planet of the Apes. There'll probably be another one. That's what I think. That way they can keep Andy Serkis involved, have him play a different character. Do they need to link it up to the other movies? Not necessarily.
Like, okay,
I don't give a shit.
all right. Andy,
we don't know how much time is gone down.
Andy, we want you to be Cornelius, but you have to go 2 octaves lower. Can you do that?
He's like, yes, I can.
Yes, I can. No.
Apes stronger together.
Apes stronger together. No, it's too much. No, it's too much like Gollum. That's too much. We don't want a Gollum ape.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
So
I mean, I'm excited. I'm down if they do more of these. I like these movies way more than I ever thought I would, because like I said, I barely saw any of the old ones minus the original, and I was a fan of the Tim Burton one when it came out because I was stupid and I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And now, having since then, I'm like, yeah, we're good. So I'm surprised how much I like these movies. So if they do another one, obviously I'll be there. I'd like them to keep the same level of like drama and stakes as the last two.
One?
Well, especially the second one, yeah. I don't think they're going to have this director, though, because this director is signed on to do the Batman with Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he also did Cloverfield, and he did Let Me In, the remake of the Swedish movie Let the Right One In, vampires and stuff. So he's a really strong filmmaker, and I think these last two movies were directed really strongly. I think he's got a real sense for visual storytelling and that kind of thing. So I'm excited to see him do what he says is going to be sort of a detective, like noir style Batman movie, which we've never really seen. Even though we've had 47,000, I'm 47. I'm just all about the number 47 today, because that 47 Meters Down movie's out. 47's in my head because I saw it on IMDb or something when I was clicking around.
Yeah.
So we've had 47 million Batman movies, but that sounds like another. It sounds like he potentially can take the Batman franchise to a different place, the way that he did with these Apes movies. Like I said, the first one was strong. The second one took it to a whole nother level, and I want to see him do that for Batman, because Batman is not unlike Planet of the Apes. You don't have to win me over for that franchise. I'm like, Batman, here's my money.
Yeah.
Lego Batman, Dark Batman, Dancing fucking Batman and ice puns. I don't give a shit. I'll be there. So I'm excited to see what he brings to that.
Yeah, and that was the worst one, the Batman.
Exactly. I was still there. I didn't like it, but I was like, all right, I'm here. Here's my money. Do something better.
The Jim Carrey one was at least entertaining.
Yeah. Well,
because Jim Carrey.
I still like that. Yeah, I like that because I like Jim Carrey. But I mean, that's pretty much.
Jim Carrey's like the only good part of that movie.
Yeah, I like Val Kilmer. All right. There's the score is kind of interesting. It's now we're going off.
It's campy. It's
campy without being super shitty.
It alludes more to like Adam West.
A little bit,
Batman.
Yeah, but it's not
terrible.
but it still works, sort of.
Yeah,
but for the most part, I don't send me hate tweets.
No spoilers though.
No spoilers for Batman Forever.
We won't spoil Baby Driver and Batman Forever.
There you go. But the movie that literally came out like 12 hours ago, fuck you. We're going to tell you all about it. Caesar's dead, bitches. But I'm still, for this movie, I'm still probably 4.5. Even though I have issues with the ending now, more so than because of you. Thanks. But I'm still leaning on a 4. It's not as strong a 4.5 as Logan, which is leaning almost into a 5. But I still like it. I still think, yeah. Logan is like almost a perfect score for me. But I'd still say this is up there for my favorite movies of the year, even though there are elements that they could have handled better.
I was at a 4 with this movie.
Oh, you're going down?
I was at a 4.
2.5, guys.
So 3.
Oh, jeez. It's the same level as Despicable Me? That's depressing.
Yeah, it is.
You know what, though, guys? Minions, 3.5. Not bad.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Minions is like
lower.
A 1.
Oh, it's not that bad.
There was one scene.
It's a guilty pleasure.
There's one scene in that. I already told you this scene. There's one scene Minions? In Minions that I thought was hilariously funny.
What was that? I forgot.
They go. Wait, is this Minions?
I don't know.
I might be confusing the one with the penguins. The Madagascar ones.
I didn't want.
I only saw the first one. Find out which one. All right, I'm gonna tell you. It's the one where he's like, I have a time machine, and then he goes.
Oh, that is in Minions.
That's Minions. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a time machine. Yeah, and then he has like all his doubles, and then he kills one of them.
The original.
Like, no shit, the original. And then they all just like, and they're like all trying to run away, but
that is a funny.
There's
gag.
nowhere to run.
That's a funny one. We should clarify he doesn't say shit though, because the movie's rated PG.
Yeah, I know. I died laughing in that part.
That was pretty good.
It was so clever. It was so clever.
So War for the Planet of the Apes, recommended by me, not as recommended by Freddy, but
no. See Dawn.
Go rewatch Dawn and then pretend that it's the end, and then I guess.
And then pretend Cornelius is actually Caesar in the original.
There you go, and links right up to the original film. It'd be like the Dark Knight Rises thing where it's like, I like that name, Robin. You'd be like, I like that name, Cornelius. He's like, that is my real name, Cornelius. Caesar Cornelius Banks, or I don't know what Smith, whatever his last name is. Rodman was the name of, not the basketball player Rodman. The James Frank, your boyfriend James Franco is Will Rodman, or whatever was his name. So I guess that's technically Caesar's last name.
My boyfriend James Franco. I wish.
All right, I think that's all we have for this one, right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so that's all we have for now. You can rate and review us on iTunes if you'd be so kind. Also find Crooked Table Podcast on Stitcher, at Crooked Table on Twitter. That would be me.
At Freddy_Yaniz for me.
We're also on Facebook and this other social medias. Find more podcasts, reviews, videos, and other movie-related goodies at crookedtable.com. Next week, I'm probably going to be talking about Dunkirk, unless I decide not to. But most likely, I'm going to talk about Dunkirk, because I love me some Nolan. And, so go see. You guys have a lot of movies to catch up on. Go buy the Blu-ray of Logan. Go see Baby Driver.
Go see Baby Driver.
Yeah. Go see War for the Planet of the Apes, but I would even I would agree with Freddy. Go see Baby Driver first.
Go see Baby Driver.
War for the Planet of the Apes is a 100, like, what did it cost? Probably $200 million. It's a huge franchise. They'll be just fine. Go see original movies like Baby Driver.
See Baby Driver, then Spider-Man Homecoming, then Despicable Me 3.
I did like Spider-Man.
And then every other movie, and then see War of the Planet of the Apes.
There you go. All right, that's all we got this time. We'll see you guys next time. Oh. Hey, don't steal my line.
No, it's like, are we rolling credits or what?
Yeah. I'll be we're over when I say we're over. God damn it. Roll credits.
This has been a production of crookedtable.com. All rights reserved.
The art of the little KED.